Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 1st, 2015 Town Board Legislative Meeting. We have two young Boy Scouts in the audience this evening who will lead us in the pledge, Josh McKechnie and Danny Scheid from Troop 230. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Supervisor LaFountain is not available this evening. Madam Clerk, if you could please read the roll.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain is absent. Metzler.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Quinn.
Here. We have a public hearing this evening for a distillery at 2106 5 Mile Line Road. Could we please read the legal notice?
To allow a distillery at 2106 5 Mile Line Road in the Four Corners zoning district. The legal notice was published in the Penfield Post on June 11th and posted on the town clerk website and town clerk bulletin board. 28 postcards were mailed.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, is this in order?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, gentlemen, Mark, are you going to sort of lead the, all right, come on up. Welcome back.
Thanks. Great to see you guys.
So I believe you all have copies of our business plan that.
Gentlemen, could you please give your names and address, please?
Oh, yes. Tim Stevens. Address is 5759 Dalton Drive in Farmington, New York.
Mark Crane. I live on 1 Bounds Hill Lane in Fairport, New York.
Just give us an overview again of your objective, what you'd like to do, how many people you would employ, all that information about where the parking is going to be, your hours of operation,
Sure.
just for the record.
So the objective is to open a distillery where we would produce spirits, mostly flavored moonshines and bourbon. We are looking to have our business hours Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 to 6. Friday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 11. We will be opening a softer opening with some restricted hours in the beginning, just until our business deems it necessary that we're open those actual hours. Starting off with 1 to 2 employees in the beginning, myself and one of our other partners who couldn't make it here this evening because his wife had a baby last night. So we would start off with 1 or 2, and then up to 5 is what we anticipate once we go full scale down the road. Parking mostly is taken care of on site. I believe there's 24, 26 spots, and any overflow, we had discussed earlier about possibly using the municipal lot down the street. Mostly we're going to be focusing on manufacturing. We will be offering tastings within the establishment, but mostly focusing our efforts on manufacturing and getting into the New York State liquor stores and pushing that end of the business. We will be offering some light food fare, finger foods or different things, so that we can offer some mixed cocktails in the summertime. People can sit outside on the deck. We envision maybe some live entertainment here and there for special events. Maybe have some live music. Nothing crazy. Nothing late hours, but something entertaining.
Where would the food be prepared?
To be determined. It may be on site, it may be off site and delivered. That's what we're kind of tossing around back and forth. We have to discuss with our attorney and the type of license we're applying for, what the requirements are going to be for that.
And just by way of background for those watching, this is proposed to be in what many refer to as the big old white church across from Mark's Pizzeria on 5 Mile Line Road with the stained glass windows. And I believe your proposed name is reflective of that.
Yeah, the stained glass distillery. Yep.
And in the past, we had these gentlemen, you and your partner, and as well as Mr. Crane, in at a work session to preliminarily discuss some of these findings, and that was kind of put on hold for a little bit for you to do some investigation as to on-site what needed to be done and licensing what needed to be done. So now you're back for the required public hearing to set forth, what your parameters of what you're looking to do. So just so people are aware of where we're talking about. It's a big old white church.
The big old white church. Yep.
What would your plan be? You're talking about doing the manufacturing is the main thing you want to get going to sell it to other places, but do you want to do both simultaneously at the same time? You would be doing manufacturing, you'd be doing tastings, or you want to just get that off the ground and then do tastings down the road, or?
No, we'd be offering tastings right away.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd be doing both simultaneously.
Okay.
And we are able to, with the type of license that we're applying for, we'll be able to do our own deliveries and so on with the local liquor stores and so on. So, we'll be getting deliveries and doing stuff ourselves, but nothing, late at night or anything like that.
Tell us a little bit about structurally, and maybe Mark, you want to weigh in as the owner of the property. What's your vision, or what requirements structurally, inside, outside changes that are you're looking to make?
Structurally, we're going to keep the windows exactly the way they are. What I'm going to try to do is on the inside, because it's been a problem, because all it is that little stained glass. That's our only separation between the inside and the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So on the inside, what we're proposing, when I talk to the building department, I'm going to ask them if I can put a glass inside. So when you look at the church from the outside, it'll still have that real pretty look with the stained glass, but I want to put like plexiglass or some kind of insulated glass just for the energy codes, because we got to find a way to, that's why the last couple tenants left, because the so much heat loss. The heating bill was, because there's 14-foot ceilings there.
Right.
So, but the general looks will be the same. We're going to paint the outside, scrape it down, paint it up nice. Basically the church is going to stay the way it is. We're going to ask, I'll probably, talk to Jim a little bit in the historic preservation about changing the front door, because they just have a 36-inch garage door on the front of the building right now. So we're going to look to put some kind of commercial door on there that is glass. So in other words, when you look at it, you'll be able to see in and kind of see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put some side lights on the front of it. Kind of like what we did across the street at the new pizzeria, something fancy like that, just to, maybe even something to match the stained glass, but it won't be stained glass, but it'll have the mullions in it. But besides that, we're really not going to change the looks of the church. Kind of want to keep that the way it was.
And the patio is an existing patio. It's already there, so
Yeah.
any changes to the patio?
Just paint.
Okay.
Going to paint the patio. The state, that state organization that was in there put for those handicapped kids, put in that handicap rail and fence across where the steps were, so that would stay the same. It has the handicap accessibility coming up from the south side. We'll keep that. And then for all deliveries, we'll use the rear door. We'll probably put a brand-new 42-inch rear door in the back of the building also, just so we can get the barrels in and the kegs for distilling the bourbon. Because you have to have a very large barrel to put those in. And then structurally on the inside, we're going to try to cut out some of the floor and utilize the still area to come up from the basement, so that when the patrons come in, they'll be able to see the whole still.
Yeah.
They'll be able to see the still from the bottom all the way to the top, the copper still.
That'd be nice.
So,
Are you going to use the upstairs?
yeah, the upstairs is going to be where if somebody wants to have a tasting or a private party, or say they're having a get-together, that's where they'll be able to do that up there. There'll be a tasting room up there for a private party. of like 10 or whatever, 10 or
Is
12
there
people.
an elevator, a ramp or something?
We won't need, the ADA won't require us to have an elevator because we have a tasting room on the first floor.
Right.
And we have a tasting room on the second floor. So, you know, if they're having a private party and they have a handicapped person with them, that person can do the tasting downstairs.
Okay.
So we don't plan on putting an elevator in up there. And the building already has the sprinkler system in it.
Right.
So what about signage?
Signage, you know, whatever the village allows, the square footage, we'll just put up, we'll have a custom-made wooden sign put up there, something fancy.
Stained glass?
Yeah, I mean, the title is so awesome. You already have the stained glass there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably have that company in Fairport that makes those wooden signs, make them, they have, the signs have depth to them, so it'll be a wooden sign that'll look deep, you know, it'll be a thick sign with different layers of wood, and then we haven't really come up with the logo yet.
Well,
We have to get-
Mark, you're certainly familiar with keeping with the character of the Four Corners,
Yeah.
with everything we went through as we progressed through the Mark's Pizzeria
Yeah.
renovation, so you're certainly well-versed in, you know, what's required, and then also kind of what
Yeah.
the vision is there.
I think when we get close to going to get the building permit, what I'd probably like to do is, I'll probably get a hold of Jim, and then I'd like to probably, you know, me and Tim and Mike and Jim will go down, and I think what we'll do is, we'll bring our ideas down to historic preservation, run it by them, see what they think, and then, you know, take their ideas and then pretty much do what they want. I think it's usually how, I think the best way for it to work. Because I think, you know, the church is the church, so I think if we can come up with a concept for the door that blends in with the church, which I don't think will be too hard to do,
Right.
you know, we'll take their ideas and then we'll just go to, you know, the manufacturer and just kind of match the door to the best we can to the church. It's really just squared off in block. So, I mean, the door's going to have to be, you know, kind of a plain door. It's not going to be anything too fancy because the church is pretty square with just square moldings. It's kind of plain.
What do you imagine the capacity is for when you have people in there?
Um,
For
You know, I
the
think,
customers?
I think the fire marshal, when there was that knick-knack place there, I think the capacity was, I think, you know, I think they were allowed to have like 130 people in there. We plan on having, you know, tastings. You know, we don't really want anyone to be in there more than 15 or 20 minutes. So, because, you know, you come in and, you know, you'll
Don't
do
get
your.
too comfortable?
Yeah, well, it's not like a bar.
Right.
It's really just come in,
tasting, yeah.
have a taste, maybe buy a little knick-knack. And, you know, it's more like, say you were going to have an engagement party or a bachelor party. That would be the place to stop before you went out. So a limo would pull up, they would come in, we'd have you know, we're going to try to book it where it's every 30 minutes, right? Every 30 minutes, there'd be a party booked. So it's like birthday party day.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you book the birthday parties at, say, a bowling center or a
Right.
jump place, you know, you get 2 hours.
Right.
And then the next party comes in 2 hours later that you got to go. Well, we kind of want to have it set up 30 minutes. So like on a Friday night, there'd be one at 7, there'd be one at 7:45, there'd be one at 8:30, you know, give us a few minutes in between.
Like wineries will do that sometimes, tastings at, and they list their
Yeah.
times, and
Yeah.
it'd
Craft
be a great
breweries,
stop before some of our
Exactly.
establishments in the Four Corners, if someone wants to go before they
Yep.
go off to a
And there's-
restaurant.
Yeah, and there's a lot of restaurants on 441 and in that general area. So it's a place where they could stop before dinner, they could stop after dinner, taste it. Because the tastings is really a function of building the brand so that the people go to the liquor store and they say, look, we'd like to, can we get that stained glass distillery stuff here? So, you know, if the tastings really is what builds the product over the years. So hopefully, the tastings will drive people to the liquor stores, and then we can get the liquor stores to buy it.
And it'll drive people to have dinner in the Four Corners of Penfield.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
No,
it may,
yeah.
it may. I mean, I know, like I said to my wife, I said, you know, we're not big drinkers.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, you're only allowed to give 3 quarter-ounce shots to any patron. So you only can have 3/4 of a shot is all you're legally allowed to serve.
Oh.
So, you know, if someone wanted to taste some moonshine or some bourbon,
Right.
it'd be a nice way to have an after-dinner drink or a before-dinner drink.
No, you have that really thought out well, and I appreciate that. You know, this is the first time we've ever had something of this nature come into Penfield, and, you know, it's,
Well, these two guys came to
thought it
me
out.
a couple years ago,
I know.
and I was thinking about getting involved in it just for a hobby, because I thought it'd be a fun hobby. So I'm really involved in it for more of a hobby, and these guys are really the moonshiners.
Because you're not that busy at all.
Yeah.
No, no.
But I did my research. I went down to Gatlinburg, and I visited a bunch of distilleries in Gatlinburg. And then I went out to Clemson in South Carolina there, and I visited some distilleries, the big distilleries in South Carolina. So I've been to a lot of distilleries, and I've seen how they've done it. It's really interesting to, you got the big copper still in there, and you see it cooking, and the mash is going, and it's pretty interesting. It's fun.
Sounds like an exciting fact-finding mission.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
In historic preservation, I think we may have shared with you at the time, when you first came in, there was an article in the National Historic Preservation magazine about the new movement of maintaining old churches.
Yeah.
And, you know, revitalizing them for use for breweries and distilleries. So you're certainly right in with that trend.
Well, I know that, like, the Catholic churches and other churches aren't loving the ideas of all these churches turning into alcohol places, but I mean, it is the trend. And we actually went, where's that place we went in?
Pittsburgh, it's Church Works Brew Works.
That's
in
how these guys got
Pittsburgh.
me hooked. I went to this church work. It's a giant old Catholic church. And when you walk in, it's a huge restaurant. It's more of a beer place, so they make beer there. But it was, you're right, it's just, and plus right now, the federal government is making it real easy for anyone. They're pushing people, they really want people to open up these little microbreweries and these distilleries. So they've made it very nice to open them up right now.
And there are additional incentives, if you
Yeah.
use local local farm.
Yeah,
what you
and
use,
that was what I was going to
including
mention, is
house,
we plan on partnering with a lot of the local farmers to acquire corn and grains, and when you're done, when you produce your mash and it ferments and then you distill it, there's leftover mash that can be fed to back to the farmers. They'll take it and feed it to, whether it's a pig farmer or different animals, and so it kind of goes full circle, and it's kind of nice. And yeah, New York State has been great as far as doing different grants, and the more New York State local products you use, the better. So that's what we plan on doing.
Very good.
Do you have any special equipment with respect to fire safety or odor abatement that might be required in the manufacture
The fire
process?
safety, what we have is, we have that huge 4-inch sprinkler line that comes into the building that they made the knick-knack place put in. So it has what it needs, because of the still runs on gas. So we have, what'll happen is, when we do get the still in, we'll have to have the fire system people come in, and then they'll re-put the heads all around the still. So we'll be protected that way. There's really not any other equipment we're gonna have there.
Is there any odor that emanates from the building?
I don't know.
No, there's going to be, there will be when the mash is fermenting, but it's very slight and it's almost a sweet smell. But it will be, it will be vented to the outside, but it won't, you'll never even notice that it was there. It's not like,
Exhaust.
other communities that have, when they do the sauerkraut and the cabbage and all that, it's not offensive at all, and it's very minimal. It's very minimal.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Board? Okay, anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this hearing? Come on up, sir. You can also call in at 340-8771 if you're at home, or go to penfield.org. If you could please come up and just name
My
and
name's
address.
Vincent Catalano, and I just had a couple questions. regarding your tastings now, are you guys going to be mixing drinks with your alcohol at your place?
The license.
Mark, I'm going to have to ask you to come back up to the microphone. We're recording this.
All right. The way the license works, we haven't decided if we're going to allow the moonshine to be mixed with a drink, because it's a separate license. So we're not sure if we're going to do that yet. You have to have a little bit more of a menu to do that. If we do that, we'll be serving Pepsis or Cokes and waters. You know, I don't know, we may serve a drink here or there, but it's not really set up to serve drinks.
Okay. That being said, all for new businesses in the community and everything, but in my eyes, that constitutes a bar, when you're mixing drinks and serving people and having them come in your place. I don't know is this going to be just a distillery, or is you guys going to be serving drinks? Drinks being served, in my eyes, and I think other people's eyes, would mean a bar. That being said, I don't believe the town allows bars in that area. I was just wondering how the parking was going to work out in that little area over there too. Is there a plan for the parking, or?
Yeah, I mean, most of the parking would be on site. There's, like I mentioned before, there's, I think, 24 to 26 spots. We don't anticipate having that many people there at one time, and if we did an event and have overflow, we would use the municipal lot. As far as the mixed drinks, we would only be, if we did any cocktails down the road and decided to serve any type of food that's required to do a cocktail, it would only be using our own product. We wouldn't be serving vodka, different whiskeys. It would only strictly be using our own product. So it would be a product of the distillery. So therefore, I don't, it falls under the distilling license by New York State standards. So I don't think it would be considered a bar, but
Which is different than a bar license.
it's different from a bar. And
Well, yeah, but I mean, when you're mixing drinks and they're being purchased, I believe that's a bar.
And the other thing, Tim, is remember, it's 30 minutes.
Right.
And who's going to, that's another thing, who's going to regulate that 30 minutes?
Well,
Who's to say I can't go in there and I'm going to be there for a couple hours?
right.
Well,
I don't-
Tim, didn't you just say that you're only allowed to do
As far as the tasting, yeah.
3/4 ounce? So actually, at the end of the day, someone couldn't even really have a full shot.
Correct.
A full shot constitutes really one drink.
Yeah, you can't, you cannot sit there and drink. And we actually can only serve 3/4 ounce shots to you per day. You couldn't go out and then come back later in the
Right.
evening or in the afternoon and get that again, per the license.
So if I was to walk in your place, is there a place for me to sit and have a drink? That's what I'm trying to ask.
If we do serve cocktails, it will most likely be only during the summertime out on the deck, because we're not going to really have much seating available inside, maybe 3 or 4 tables. So the tasting bar that we're going to be using will not have seats. It'll be a standing, almost like a winery. When you go in and do a tasting, you'll pick your 3 flavors that you want to try, and then you'll be moving on. And
Okay, next question. How do you propose you guys are going to manage knowing who got what, and if they were here earlier, and if they came back to get more, and if they've only gotten served that amount? How do you propose to manage that?
well, I mean, the hours that we're open, the same people are going to be there pretty much. I'm going to be
Well,
there every day.
I'm sorry, I came a little late. I might have
Yeah.
missed that. What would your proposed hours be?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're proposing 11 to 6, and then Friday and Saturday, 11 to 11. However, we're opening with more restricted hours until, that would be our, when the business deems necessary, that would be our most expanded hours. We're
Okay.
going to have more restricted hours in the beginning.
Okay.
So we may only be there, 2 or 3 days in the beginning until we get our feet on the ground running a little bit, so.
Okay.
So
So there's no food being served in your building?
As of right now, we are in the process of deciding whether or not we want to serve food, because if we want to do the cocktails, the license requires that we do small food, nothing, we're not going to have a kitchen. It's
Okay.
going to be something that we're going to be able to prepare and have available for them
Okay,
that day.
all right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Tim.
The other thing that we would be doing that I didn't mention before was, under our distilling license, we would also have the ability to fill growlers from local breweries. So we may have that tap system in place. It has to be a sealed container, and it has to be consumed off-site. It cannot be consumed on-site. But that also would be something that we would probably do, partner with a local brewery, maybe, Fairport Brewing, or, we haven't decided yet, but we would do growler fills as well, seal them, and they can take them with them.
Similar to what the gas stations are doing, like Fast
Yeah.
Track has one.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can buy sealed growlers in Wegmans even, I think, so.
Yep. Okay. Anyone else in the audience? Okay. Board, anything else? Good. Okay, thank you. So just for next steps on the public hearing, we'll close the public hearing momentarily, and then we will reconvene. Actually, our next work session will be towards the end of July, correct? The 22nd?
22nd, yes.
Okay.
Very good.
22nd, so Wednesday, July 22nd will be our next work session. It will be held in the back of the room here. And then the agenda for that work session will be out the Friday prior. So the next time we'll have an opportunity to speak on this will be at that work session. So with no other business on this public hearing, then I'll declare it closed. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thank you, Tim. We'll move on to communications and announcements. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The 5th Annual Penfield Business Association Golf Tournament to benefit the Shepherd Home Comfort Care Facility will be held on Monday, July 27th at 1784 Jackson Road. It is not too late to be a sponsor. Please contact Tracy Dovey at 585-381-0890 for more information, or visit www.penfieldbusiness.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Metzger.
I have two announcements this evening. Penfield Recreation is excited to announce that the town is further partnering with Autism Up, Rochester's leading nonprofit that supports individuals on the autism spectrum and those that care for them. Penfield Recreation will be hosting several of their most popular social clubs here in Penfield with Autism Up this summer, also including our annual Kite Flight Parade with Autism Up Festival and Expo on August 15th at Rothfuss Park. So save the date, August 15th, for a great family event filled with games, raffles, music, food, and more. To learn more or to register for any event with Autism Up, please visit their website at www.autismup.org. Also, the Penfield Players will perform their summer staged reading of David Mamet's Keep Your Pantheon on Saturday, July 18th at 2 p.m. at the Penfield Community Center, 1985 Baird Road, Penfield. Directed by David C. Woodworth, Keep Your Pantheon is a comedy set in the early Roman times from the man who brought us Glengarry Glen Ross, which ventures deeper into the sketch territory. Admission is free. Donations will be accepted at the door. Again, the fabulous Penfield Players, Saturday, July 18th at 2 p.m. for Keep Your Pantheon. That's all I have this
All right,
evening.
thank you. Two announcements pertaining to the July 4th festivities this weekend here in town. First, town offices will be closed in observance of Independence Day this Friday, July 3rd. Second, to guarantee safe passage for emergency vehicles during the town's Independence Day celebration, parking restrictions will be enforced. No parking signs will be posted on Friday, July 3rd and removed after the event. The Monroe County Sheriff's Department will be monitoring compliance. Tickets will be issued and cars will be towed at owner's expense. Parking for the Harris Whalen Park neighborhood. Parking will be prohibited on one side of these neighborhood streets adjacent to Harris Whalen Park. Avonmore Way, Hidden Meadow, Hillrise Drive, Lazy Trail, Valley Green Circle, Valley Green Drive, Maple Hill Farm Road, and Maple Leaf Circle. Parking for the Baird Road neighborhood, parking will be prohibited on one side of Wheelock Road and the southern portion of Peachtree Road. Parking will be prohibited on both sides of the following streets: Baird Road north of 441 to Wayland Road, Hotchkiss Circle, Henderson Drive, Kenmont Drive, and Peachtree Road, the northern portion. The fireworks and traffic flow and parking rules and restrictions for the evening of July 4th will go into effect at 9:45 p.m. These rules, along with complete details for the day, can be found on our website at penfield.org. And also just a reminder, fireworks will begin shortly after 10 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Penfield will celebrate its Independence Day on Saturday, July 4th. The annual parade will begin at 2 p.m., starting at the Penfield High School, and travel to the Penfield Community Center off 441, or via 441. This year's parade marshal is Mr. Steve Pello. Steve's been very active in Penfield Little League and one of the leaders in our community in Penfield, or in Challenger Division baseball here throughout Monroe County. The MC will be John Cucko. The festivities will continue at Harris Wayland Park beginning at 5 p.m. with music from Black Rabbit and Doghouse, with great food and fun for all. The fireworks show will begin at 10 p.m. Restrictive traffic patterns, as Councilman Quinn mentioned, will be in effect surrounding the park. For complete details, please visit penfield.org. Also, the Penfield Trails Committee will sponsor a free public hike at Abraham Lincoln Park on Saturday, July 11th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Explore the ups and downs of this county park from wooded uplands to the Bay Shore Trail connections. Look for hike signs. While the hike is free, participants are asked to please pre-register by contacting the Penfield Recreation Department at 340-8655. Thank you.
I have two announcements. The Summer Music Concert Series kicks off this month at the Penfield Amphitheater. Bring your family and some lawn chairs to one of these fabulous free concerts. The first event is the Cool Jazz Concert Series, which will start Tuesdays, July 14th, featuring the Bill Tibero Band, followed by the Kids Fest Music Series on Thursday, July 16th, featuring Paulson and Baker. All music begins at 7 p.m., held at the Penfield Amphitheater, which is located in Veterans Memorial Park. For more details on the Summer Amphitheater Music Series, visit penfieldrec.org. And my second announcement is that my monthly community chat in July will be Tuesday, July 21st, in the new book area at the library, if you'd like to come over and sit down and talk about anything on your mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Horwitz.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, thank you. There are two opportunities for public participation. You can also call in at 340-8771 or go through penfield.org. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak at this time?
Nita Abdu.
Please come forward. Good evening.
My name is Anita Abdu, and I reside at 18 Vixen Run. And I've been in Penfield about 40 years. And my complaint or my problem, I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to bring it or not, I emailed Tony LaFont, and I didn't hear anything back about him. It's the bike trails next, or the bike paths next to the road, you know, where they're supposed to, like in the front of the town hall, they're pretty wide. And then they narrow down, Atlantic Avenue especially, and it's so dangerous. And my children here, my grandchildren are here, and when I first moved here, and I know that was 40 years ago, it was safe to ride all over Penfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I babysit, and we used to like to go to the town hall and ride our bikes. I mean, I know you can throw them in the car, but it's just something to do. And there's a map here that shows the trails, and the trails that I don't know if I'm calling it the right thing, but they're dangerous. I mean, they're like dangerous. If you come down Atlantic Avenue on your bike, there's nowhere to ride, and the trucks stop, and then they wait, and they have to go way around you. I mean, they would just hit you and not even know it. I mean, and it wouldn't be their fault, it wouldn't be your fault, it'd be the fault of no place to ride. And this thing here says that they're fair, and some are good, but they're bad. All, basically, 250 is great. I mean, they have a pretty good place to ride, all the way up 250, which is busy, but you're totally safe.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, I'm sure, I can't speak for Tony, but I'm sure that he's received your email and will address it, or at least is looking into it, definitely, and we'll speak with him as well.
And then how do I know what's going on with it?
Well, I'm sure Tony will respond,
Okay,
yes.
been quite a while since I,
Okay, well, we can definitely take down your information and reconnect with Tony as well.
okay.
Yep.
I have your information.
Yeah, do you want my email too?
Sure.
Why don't you write down, because we're
Write down
recording,
and-
it's
yeah.
easier than
Okay.
announcing.
And you can do it on this sheet.
Thank you very much for coming in, and we'll be sure to touch base with Tony. Yep. Okay. Anyone else in the audience? Gentlemen? Live TV? No? All right, very well. Any additions and deletions to the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll have a set of minutes, June 3rd, 2015. Do we have a motion for the approval of minutes?
I'll move that the minutes of June 3rd be approved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments? Okay. Can I have a roll call on the minutes, please?
Cole?
Aye.
Metzler?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
4 ayes.
Okay. Has the town board, town clerk, or town attorney received any petitions since our last meeting? No? Okay. And next is resolutions by function.
Authorization to maintain properties and assess the charges to the 2016 property tax bills.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas on October 2nd, 1996, the Town Board of the Town of Penfield adopted Article 4-4-28 of the zoning ordinance entitled Property Maintenance. Whereas the purpose of 4-4-28 of the zoning ordinance is to prevent the gradual encroachment of blight, deterioration, unsightliness, and property devaluation, and assure that all premises within the Town of Penfield are maintained in a manner that will assure health, safety, and the welfare of the general public. Whereas property owners of 19 Blooms End, 2182 5 Mile Line Road, 1603 Hermance Road, and 68 Woody Lane have failed to maintain the exteriors of their properties. Whereas the town staff has continually requested the property owners to maintain these locations with no result. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the Fire Marshal and Building, Zoning, and Code Enforcement Supervisor to have the properties appropriately maintained. Be it further resolved that the Town Board further authorizes that the cost of said maintenance and any additional maintenance during the 2015 season be charged to the 2016 property tax bill for said properties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cole?
Aye.
Metzler?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization for MRB Group PC to provide construction stakeout for the installation of sanitary sewers within the Parkview Drive, White Village Drive area.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board recognized a significant level of resident support for the construction of sanitary sewers within Parkview Drive, White Village Drive area. Whereas the town board, based on this support, authorized the preparation of a request for proposal for final engineering and design services for this project. Whereas on June 16, 2003, MRB Group submitted a proposal for construction stakeout in an amount not to exceed $15,950. Whereas the town board discussed this proposal at its work session on June 24, 2014. Now therefore be it resolved that based on the submitted estimate prepared by the MRB Group on June 16, 2015, the town board hereby authorizes the MRB Group to provide the construction stakeout for the Parkview Drive White Village Sewer Project in the amount not to exceed $15,950. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor, Tony LaFountain, be hereby is authorized to execute said proposal with the MRB Group, subject to review by the town attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please.
Cole.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign an amendment to the agreement with South Cove LLC, providing for sewer capacity improvements within Sewer District Number 12 on Empire Boulevard.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the Penfield Town Board, through its Resolution 12T-219 on October 17, 2012, approved the South Point Cove Apartment Project located at 1420 and 1440 Empire Boulevard. Whereas the project is served by Sanitary Sewer District Number 12, which through its establishment assigns certain sanitary sewer flow allocations to each property within the district. Whereas on February 14, 2014, Resolution 14T-059 authorized the supervisor to sign an agreement for sanitary sewer capacity improvements to Sewer District Number 12, which detailed the timing for a new pump station to be installed. Whereas the proposed amendment requests a modification to the timing of the installation and operation of the pump station to allow the sixth building to be started through the issuance, through the issuance of a building permit. However, no certificate of occupancy of any kind, temporary or final, shall be issued for said sixth building without the pump station being completed and operational. Now therefore be it resolved, based on the submitted proposal prepared by Passero Associates on May 20th, 2015, the town board hereby authorizes the amendment to the original agreement allowing a building permit to be issued for the sixth building in the South Point Cove apartment development and no issuance of a certificate of occupancy until such pump station is installed and operational. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cole.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Awarding contract for Salter Rack Storage System for Department of Public Works.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas sealed proposals were sought and requested in the manner prescribed by law to furnish the Department of Public Works with quotes to provide a new Salter Rack storage system having weight-bearing certifications necessary to safely store the empty salt spreaders. On May 28, 2015, at 11 a.m. local time, the following sealed proposals were received, opened, and read publicly. From Alloy Materials Handling, $145,915 with a scrap value deduction of $2,200. Fred A. Nudd Corporation, $116,790 with a scrap value deduction of $1,000. Whereas the bid proposal received from Fred A. Nudd Corporation was the lowest proposal received, which meets the town's needs and meets or exceeds all of the town's bid specification. And whereas the funds for these services are available in the 2015 DPW highway budget. Now therefore be it resolved that a contract is hereby awarded to Fred A. Nudd Corporation of Ontario, New York, to furnish a storage system replacement per bid specifications and the town's specifications. This resolution and the bid submitted by Fred A. Nudd Corporation shall constitute the contract, which is to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Cole.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This authorizes the town supervisor to sign 3 recreation contracts, and they're dealing with recreation instructor contracts for the summer.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cole.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes.
All right. Thank you. There will be a second opportunity for public participation. Again, the phone number is 340-8771. You can also go through penfield.org. Is there any old business to come before the town board? Seeing none. Any new business? Seeing none. Would anyone else like to address the town board this evening? Okay, seeing none. I'd like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July this weekend. Be safe and enjoy. With no other business, I declare this meeting adjourned at 7:47 p.m. Thank you.